swoops on the crown and massive basket.
3. You are kidding me.
And the fire burned brightest. Townsville are WNBL champions for the 4th time.
Thursday night Cygnett WNBL hoops coming to you from Red Energy Arena as Bendigo hosts the UC Capitals in a must-win clash to keep its slim finals hopes alive. The Spirit will have confidence having beaten finals contender Perth last round and also defeating the Caps the week prior. But the Caps are no easy beats, having won 4 of their last 6 matches. The task tonight, however, becomes that much harder with the loss of their best player in Jade Melbourne. Jess Webster with you alongside women's basketball expert Mark Alabakov. And Mark, what excites you most about tonight's matchup?
Well, the big tasks that face both of these two teams, you've got the Bendigo Spirit, and it's a simple equation for them. They've got to win and continue to win and then pray to the hoop gods for favourable results from the rest of the competition that places them in the finals picture. For Canberra, this is going to be a real test of their culture and character to be able to overcome the loss of star point guard Jade Melbourne tonight. And
Bendigo do have recent form on their side as well. They've won 3 of the last 5 matches between these two teams, and they haven't secured a clean sweep over the Capitals in the regular season in 10 years, since 2013, 2014. So a lot for them to play for tonight. What do they have to do to get the job done?
Well, I mean, for the Bendigo Spirit, it's just continuing to move down the path of how they've been playing most recently. They've had a real attack mindset offensively in transition, so they're looking to push the ball at every opportunity, and they've been able to create advantages and kick the ball out to three-point shooters and shooting the three at a really good clip at the moment. Last round, as an example, they shot the ball at 12% above their average, at 44% from the three, and that was largely in part to Merrin Crocker's 8 of 10 three-point output in that particular game.
A good crowd building tonight at Red Energy Arena. A lot to play for Bendigo, and this is what it means as we take a look at the ladder. They're in 6th position, the UC in 8th position, trying to avoid the dreaded wooden spoon, but you said it perfectly, Mark. Bendigo, they simply have to win for any chance of making a run for that top 4 spot.
Yeah, they have absolutely no wiggle room. They lose one more game and their season's done. But if they can continue to win, they've got to chase down, if we take that top 4 as an example, chase down the Sydney Flames. They need to not only tie them for the amount of wins, but they've got to win one more because they've lost the season split to the Sydney Flames as well.
So let's turn our attention to Bendigo and their starting 5. So much experience in this lineup, as we know, and we should touch on Ali Wilson needing 14 points to reach 2,000 career points, and she's just been such a wonderful part of this competition for many years.
She has, and I've had the privilege of working with her at 3 different stops, actually, with the Townsville Fire, with the Bendigo Spirit, and with the Sydney Flames. But she's been tremendous. She's had a career resurgence in recent years. She's averaging the 10.5 points, 4 rebounds, 5.5 steals, but has been spiking at the right time of year. So last round against Perth, she had 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 13 assists. So she's a huge catalyst to their offense.
Absolutely. And for the Capitals, it's needless to say that Jade Melbourne is such a massive loss for them tonight. She's number 2 in the competition for average points per game with 18.1, and number 2 in the competition as well for average assists. It's going to be a big task for their starting 5 tonight.
Well, they're enormous shoes to have to fill. Now, they do have talented players, so let's not discount that. You've got Alex Sharp having a heck of a season, 15.5 points, 11 rebounds, and Fowler with 11.5 points and 5 rebounds. Both of those two athletes shooting over 35% from the 3. But the challenge is going to be the playmaking that Jade brings. So she's averaging 18.7 assists. If we take the 7 assists and count them as 2-point baskets, that's 32 points that she has a hand in. Now, the past 2 games for the Caps, they've averaged 66 points as a team and 9.5 assists. So you take 32 points and 7 assists out of that picture, it leaves a bit of a hole. That's
incredible stats, isn't it? Just goes to show what a superstar Jade Melbourne is. This week is also WNBL Fighting Period Poverty Round in Australia. An astounding 1 in 5 women have to improvise on period products. This is not okay. You can help make a difference today by purchasing a pair of bloody good socks from Share the Dignity. Do your part in helping to fight period poverty today. So a few moments away from tip-off, Mark, if you are Bendigo, what's the mindset coming into tonight's game? The task is tough for them to make finals, but do you use that as a motivating factor, or you just have to go and focus on the basics?
Well, I think it's a combination of both of those things. So you've got to play every moment to win. You can't be conservative. You're not going to be able to back into a win against any of the teams in the Cygnett WNBL. So they've got to be pedal to the metal right from the jump and try to get a good start on the back of both defensive pressure, but then the pace that they can play with back in the other direction.
It's almost underway here at Red Energy Arena, and UC, we mentioned they've won 4 of their last 6, but after 5 games scoring above 75 points across those 4 wins, they struggled on offense last round with 2 games under 66 points. You take out Jade Melbourne, and they really need someone to stand up tonight.
Yeah, and they've got people who can score, but the challenge is going to be who facilitates, organises and play makes for other people. So if we take their past 2 games as an example, I mentioned that they've averaged the 9.5 assists only. You take Jade's 7 out of that, and it's kind of slim pickings in terms of playmaking. There's nobody on the Caps roster currently that averages more than a single assist other than Jade Melbourne.
So here we go, we're underway. Can Bendigo keep their finals hopes alive, or will UC cause an upset against all odds here without Jade Melbourne? It's Bendigo with first possession through Wilson, and turned it over immediately. So here's a chance for the Capitals on the counter-attack. They're swinging across to Okoya, who fires for 3. Is offline.
Here's that transition push that I was talking about. So down the floor with 7 seconds or less, they're at the tip of the rim. They've got the ball to Ruth Davis, who had a heck of a game last round as well, had the 15 points.
So the Spirit with the first points of the game. Sharp for the Capitals. Now off to Fowler, who's under pressure. Back to Sharp, get their first bucket.
It's always in the right place at the right time, Alex Sharp. She has a knack of moving off the ball and being in little windows of where the ball's likely to be or likely to land after a shot.
She's played an important role too for UC, averaging the 15 points a game. That's a big shot from Crocker in the corner. We mentioned she's in fine form from that range. An early 3-pointer. Here's Okoya again, whistling away. And will draw the foul.
An interesting look to go to Okoya in the post. She's typically known as a 3-point shooter, but they've got to find some creative ways to keep the basketball moving and generate different types of scoring looks to what you would normally get with Jade Melbourne out on the floor.
Averaging the 8 points this season is Monica Okoya. Touch over 3 rebounds as well. 46% from the line. Going to lift her confidence as well as the confidence of her team. Close start early. Bendigo through Griffin.
And way too easy. I mean, Kelsey Griffin's a tough check against anybody in the competition. She had 25 points against this Caps team the last time that they played. The Fowler's got to keep a gap and try to contain her, force KG to shoot over the top.
So we've mentioned so much experience in this Spirit side as Wilson fires for 3. Can't get it to go. Sharp for the visitors. And offensive foul called.
Looks like they've called a moving screen, so that could be costly. If that's the second foul, no, just the first.
So it'll be a Spirit ball, 7-4, early stages, first term at Red Energy Arena. Here is Griffin. He's lost it, and here's a chance for the Caps.
Little mishandle, but a better job there by Monica Okoya to contain the dribble penetration from Kelsey Griffin. She's quick when she catches the ball. She spins immediately, so she doesn't give you an opportunity to really do a great job of containing. So you've got to get your feet and body away from her the moment she catches the ball. A little cushion that helps you stay in front.
And this time the Caps have turned it over. So Bendigo to get another chance. Here's Crocker. Over to Davis. And now Wilson. Assessing her options. Off to Griffin. And now to Wilson. Looking to find some space, wings it back out to Griffin, now goes inside to Davis, can't finish.
Unlucky, but beautiful high-low pass there from Griffin to Davis. Tough action to defend.
Clark makes a move and feeds off to Fowler, who can't find the finish. Gets the contact.
This is what I like about Fowler's game. I think she's an unsung star of the competition, up and coming, but certainly someone who's important to this Caps lineup, with or without Jade Melbourne. She's averaging, the 11.5 points and the 5 rebounds at the moment. She runs the floor. She does a lot of the hard, gritty stuff. Doesn't get anything particularly run for her in terms of an offense, but just on effort-based metrics, she gets her points on the board.
Just 22 years of age. Represented Australia in the under-17 and under-19 Worlds. Bright future indeed if she continues her trajectory.
Absolutely.
The Capitals keeping in touch here in this first quarter. Bendigo with possession. Griffin thought about the three, gave it off to Wilson. See that many times. Now to Griffin.
That's incredibly tough. I thought that they passed up the Bendigo Spirit a number of shot attempts that they could have had. They created some advantages, but kept the basketball moving. Sometimes overpassing the ball can be to your detriment.
Here's Crocker. Giving it off to Griffin. Muscling her way to the rim. Brilliant stuff.
And she's just an absolute masterclass to watch in the post. The way that she uses her jab step, she'll try to move you, and if you don't bite on that jab step and honor her step towards the basket, she'll take it. And she's got a split-second reaction time. She gets her shoulders by, and it's over.
And just great to see her out there.
Absolutely.
Long range 2 is good.
So the Caps scoring by committee at the moment, and this is what they need to do. So we see the basket there, the and one by Kelly Wilson. For the Caps, it's going to need to be by committee, but then for the Spirit, they've got individual playmakers who can put the ball in the hoop for them, but they're best when the ball touches sets of hands, when you've got, Crocker shooting the three, you've got post-up actions, that include Kelsey Griffin, or pick and rolls with Kelsey Griffin and Kelly Wilson. Ali Wilson, we mentioned in the top of the broadcast, is an exceptional scorer of the basketball as well.
Kelly Wilson needs just the 3 games to reach 450. What an incredible career it has been. Spirit now out to a 4-point lead. But good contest so far. Clark for the Capitals. Now Fowler under pressure. And gets the contact off to the line.
Did a really good job of just staying patient and trying to use her pivot as a means to get her shoulders free to be able to create some airspace to go up for that shot. The next thing to do for her would be to go up with her left hand, where she's got her body between the defender and the basketball. She might be able to get an and one out of that play. The Caps hanging in there and slowing the game to a slower tempo by being able to play out of the post.
2 from 2. This is promising from the Capitals. Obviously, without Jade Melbourne, it's a huge task for them tonight. But they will want to just tick off little milestones along the way, and one of those being a competitive first quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've got to put 4 of them together. So it's easy to hang with a team for the first 5 minutes of Q1. The real test of their character and their culture is going to come across 4 quarters here.
Potter into the action for the Capitals. That free attempt is a little offline, but they'll get another opportunity.
Who else? Alex Sharp.
We've got a level ball game. Zally Wilson turned it over. Chance for the Capitals on the counter attack. Can't get it to go. And wide open for a long range 2 as Wilson makes it count.
Now, this is one of the things that's standing out for me in just watching these early stages. The push of the basketball from the Bendigo Spirit, it looks to me like there's a lack of clarity and communication in who's picking up the basketball, who is guarding who in that defensive transition from the Caps. They've been late to a number of matchups or into defending actions. It'll be one thing that they'll want to keep an eye on.
Crocker for the Spirit. Off to Wilson, sets the feet for three and knocks it down.
Case in point. So a dangerous three-point shooter like Ali Wilson, you can't give her mountains of space to be able to pull up and shoot that one.
And a timeout has been called with the Spirit up by 5 points in what has been a pretty competitive opening quarter of hoops on this Thursday night for you. And this timeout is brought to you by Cygnett. Cygnett are long-term supporters of the Share the Dignity and committed to helping end period poverty. They're donating $1 from every product sold on their website from now until the 31st of January. So make sure you head to cygnett.com to help make a difference. Mark, what do we make of proceedings so far?
Well, I mean, it's the Bendigo Spirit clearly in control for me. In terms of their quality of shots, the push of the basketball has generated some good offense for them. They've got the 5 fast break points already, and 8 of their points have been in the paint so far. For the Caps, I mean, they've done a great job of trying to get the ball inside, get themselves high percentage scoring looks. They've got themselves on the free throw line so far for 6 attempts, which has been able to keep the game slow and keep them within it in terms of the scoreboard. But they'll want to be talking about the clarity of defensive transition, picking the basketball up early. So you don't want to play against this Bendigo Spirit team and give anybody the chance, the Ali Wilsons, the Callie Wilsons, to get outletted a basketball and then be able to play at pace the other way. They're too dangerous individually and too dangerous in getting other people involved with kick-ahead passes. So they'll want to get that clarity taken care of here in this last 3 minutes 58 of Q1.
Spread of contributors so far for the Spirit: Wilson, Crocker, both the Wilsons, Ali and Kelly, and Griffin and Davis all hitting the scoreboard so far. Back underway, less than 4 to play in this first quarter. Lovely pass and the finish from Ali Wilson. Superb team play.
And a great back cut. Anytime your defender is guarding you in the corner and they're not looking at you, or they're playing above you and closer to half court, that's a great time to back cut.
Ball's out of play. It will remain with the Capitals. Now out to 7 points, the Spirit, after we were 12 all at one stage a few minutes ago. Bendigo with the momentum at the moment. And they've turned it over, so they'll get another opportunity here, the Spirit.
Yeah, it's unfortunately an overthrown pass there by Jade Kirasome. Right idea to get ball reversal and try and attack the other side of the floor.
So Bendigo trying to make something happen for throwing, and gets the call as well.
She has a knack of being able to make those baskets post-contact. So on catches, she's trying to find your body. So this catch here, you see how she leverages that right shoulder into the chest of Fowler, and then as she separates and bounces away, she scoops it up with the left hand. Does a really good job of finishing post-contact or even fading away after contact. It's hard to stop with her reach.
Can't complete the N1, but this is now a handy lead to the Spirit. Caps need a response. Kirasome.
The defensive change-up here, it looks like, from the Bendigo Spirit. A 1-2-2 zone or 3-2 zone, perhaps.
Had to put a shot up as it ticked down. Riley can't find the bottom of the net.
It's always interesting for coaches, you know, watching the Cygnett WNBL. What do teams do after free throws? What defensive change-ups do they make? So everyone has their own ideas, own identity, and there's some good stuff there that you can pick up.
Potter kicks it back out to Kirasome, fires for 3. Can't get it to go, but Potter gets it back. Okoye, wide open, top of the arc, comes up short.
I think she was probably surprised with how open she was.
Samuels, lovely move, lovely finish.
And physically strong too.
Kirasome to Potter. Assessing her options. Find some room to move, and that's a well-needed bucket for the Capitals.
And that's the challenge that you're going to have when you're the Capitals. So we talked about how Jade Melbourne is not only a scorer, but a playmaker within this lineup. So over half of their score, or sorry, my bad, just under half their score rather, has been created, generally speaking, by the scoring and the playmaking, so the assists of Jade Melbourne. That's now missing in your lineup. It's a big hole to fill, and it can be challenging to try to find your way and find a new rhythm, with that big catalyst outside of your lineup. The Perth Lynx are seeing the same sort of situation with Aari McDonald missing. You saw a slide mid-season from the Melbourne Boomers when Jordan Canada was out. When you've got these great scorers and playmakers, it changes your identity completely when they're not in the lineup.
And that's an important point you make, is Abby Werung gets her first points of the evening, because even though they've had time with knowing Jade Melbourne's been out, it takes time on the floor for it to all gel.
Absolutely, and you're trying to relearn a way to play with a handful of games left. So in that comes an unlearning of all of the work that you've done in pre-season and the body of the season so far.
Get a look at the replay of the foul call on Fowler. Good start to her tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And a creative finish there in the post. So being able to initiate the contact to try to bump and then separate. But then she used a twist finish. So she turned her back to the defender, which meant her shooting arm was furthest away from where the defender's arm was. So it wasn't going to obstruct her shot. Almost finishes like a reverse layup.
The crowd really enjoying that miss. No surprises to figure out where we're playing from tonight. Of course, Red Energy Arena, Bendigo's home court. Now an 11-point lead they have as we tick down to quarter time. It's Kelly Wilson looking inside, and it's going to be an offensive foul.
Yeah, offensive foul called there on Alicia Froling. So what they've said is, as they've switched on the pick and roll, they've said that Alicia might have hooked Nicole Munger's arm. Didn't really look like it to me in that particular instance, but we might have missed earlier within that footage. But nonetheless, Caps ball, another opportunity to get a much-needed basket. For them, again, we keep referring to Jade Melbourne. It's tough not to talk about her because she's such a big part of this Capitals team and such a star of the competition, but they want to keep in touch from a scoring standpoint as much as they can, and that can be generated by scoring more and in different ways, or on the defensive end.
Shot from the corner just comes up short from Munger, and it'll be a Bendigo ball. And also, not to harp on it, but it's not just the points and the statistics that Jade Melbourne brings to the side, but she is an energizer bunny, and psychologically she is their barometer. So that's also a big loss for them. But certainly there's a few positives in this first quarter as Griffin sets her feet for three. It's offline, but they'll get another opportunity through Davis. Working on Bunton. Sweeping pass out to Werung. Seconds ticking down. Fires for a triple. Can't get it to go. Munger and Griffin. Bunton comes up with it. Last chance for the Capitals. Munger takes it down the floor. Swings it across into the corner. And that's offline from Sharp. Last chance to beat the buzzer. And that'll do us to quarter time at Red Energy Arena. It is the Spirit who have the lead at quarter time. 25-14 over the UC Capitals. We're going to take a short break and be back with second quarter action next.
Use that momentum and power you've created to explode out on your first dribble. Okay, we've got 2 more. 1.
Sometimes as women, we look for perfection as opposed to execution.
The work ethic is important when the players are 40 years younger than you.
Cheers.
Quarter time at Red Energy Arena. Ali Wilson starting this game very strongly, of course, a 29-year-old two-time WNBL champion. She needs 14 points tonight to reach 2,000 career points. What a superstar she has been, and so far she is producing goods in the first quarter, up to 7 points already as Bendigo have a 25-14 lead over the Capitals at quarter time. Jess Webster and Mark Alabakov with you. Mark, what did you make of that opening quarter?
Well, it's been controlled by the Bendigo Spirit for mine. It's 8 fast break points. They've got 4 points off turnovers. So those two statistics combined lead to 12 points, and they're just effort-based, pushing the basketball metrics that come off the back of rebounding the ball well and then getting out in numbers, playing with width and then running ahead with depth and kicking the basketball ahead. So those 12 points, I mean, that's almost the entirety of the Caps scoreline right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good start to this game. We were 12 all at one stage in that first quarter, and then Bendigo finished with a flurry, 13 points to 2 to take a handy lead at quarter time. This is going to be the challenge for UC, is to not have these lapses in games and make sure that they fight it out for the 4 quarters. So they do have positives to take out of that opening term. Yeah,
absolutely. And, you know, when they've played without any of those mental gaps, you know, the little sort of drops in focus, they've been competitive. They've been able to get themselves on the free throw line for 8 attempts so far and been able to hang within the contest. But you know, to beat a team like the Bendigo Spirit, you can't have lapses like this. You can't give an inch because they'll take them all.
Here is a chance for the Spirit to start this second quarter. Ali Wilson off to Kelly. Just slow things down for the moment here. Kelly assessing her options. Off to Griffin, working on Fowler. Makes a move, gets the finish.
They do a really good job, the Bendigo Spirit and Coach Kennedy Kerryama, of drawing up offenses to get Kelsey Griffin that mid-post catch, because she's dangerous on a turnaround jump shot, but then if you close out on her too close, she drives right past you.
Koya keeping it alive, out to Munga, open for the 3 and knocks it down. Desperately what the Capitals need.
Absolutely, and where you mentioned earlier that the heart and soul of this group is Jade Melbourne, if there was a secondary heart within them that pumps, it's absolutely Nicole Munga with effort-based plays, but then she's got the ability to hit the 3. A couple of years ago, she had a 52-point game for the Newcastle Falcons in the NBL 1 East.
52 points is a day out, isn't it?
You could leave me in an empty gym all day and I wouldn't have 52 points.
As Fowler adds to her tally. Could leave me there in a week, I think, Mark, and I wouldn't even get close. Here's Kelly Wilson off to Crocker. Munga applying the pressure. Now into the corner for Griffin. Can't get it to go. Clark takes it down the other end for the Capitals. Good pressure applied by Wilson, and they get the turnover.
You just saw a little bit of hesitation creep in there, you know, from Clark. Had an opportunity to throw the ball into the post, and you could see that her head popped up and she saw that pass available. Just second-guessed her ability to get it there on her left hand. Kept the ball for an extra second. All of the Spirit defenders matched up, and now that play was no longer there. For the Caps to be the best version of themselves, they've got to back themselves in. They've got talented basketball players who clearly can see, you know, where some advantages are created.
Ali Wilson driving, comes up short, but gets a second opportunity. Great stuff.
And there's the focus piece. So just losing focus and ball watching just for a moment. Playing against the Bendigo Spirit, they're playing for their finals lives, and they're going to be hustling for every loose ball possible. So we see Fowler draw a foul there on Ruth Davis. So used that same twist finish. So drove and tried to get almost a right shoulder in Ruth Davis's armpit. So that was able to negate the great length that she has at 6'6". So we watch this again here on replay. The crossover, tries to get into her armpit and then is able to extend shoot that one like a reverse layup, gets herself on the free throw line again, but had the airspace to get the shot up on the glass as well.
Two from two and takes her tally to 8 tonight for Alex Fowler. Caps need to find scoring opportunities, and so far she is providing.
So the Caps in a 2-3 zone at the moment, so trying to break the rhythm of the Bendigo Spirit. And often when you play in any type of zone alignment, it changes the focus and changes the way that teams like to play or create their advantages. So inevitably, teams that have great scorers individually are forced to have to make plays for other people. So that'll be the thinking from Coach Kristen Veal here.
Clark for the Capitals. Off to Bunton, in for Sharp. Wilson got a hand in there to break it up, but Sharp regains possession. Now inside to Bunton, lovely play.
Absolutely, great little alley-oop pass. Now with Bunton on the scoreboard and having that shot attempt, that means every single player that's been in the game for the UC Caps has attempted a shot, so it means everybody's a threat on the floor.
That would have been something that the coaching staff would have looked to. Again, we spoke about earlier about the little wins, the little boxes that they want to tick. That would be up there.
Absolutely. So, you know, you look at how would you approach this game if you were Coach Kennedy Kerryama. You have Jade Melbourne missing. You find who are the next 1 to 2 big targets from a scoring standpoint, and you try to nullify those, knowing that, you know, you're trying to almost exacerbate the fact that they're not going to get the same ball supply without Jade Melbourne out there. But if you take them away from a scoring perspective, you can keep the Capitals to a really small scoreboard pressure type of situation. But for the Caps, you want everybody to be a threat, because anybody can get going, fly under the radar somewhat, and do some damage within their position.
And they get an opportunity. Foul call on Munga.
It's a strong move to the rack there by Munga. And this is where I mentioned earlier with Jada Clark, just some hesitation on that finish. So I would love to see Munga back herself, and as she grounded her feet, collected both feet under her shoulders, power up evenly off both, make her body long and put that 2 points down. And you can't play with a rear view mirror if you're the UC Caps, against this Spirit lineup.
So a good little patch here from the Caps. Munga making it 2 from 2, and they've made some inroads on their 11-point deficit at quarter time. Spirit trying to keep their finals hopes alive. Task is simple for them tonight. They just need to win. Griffin, a couple of goes at it. Just too good.
And that's the challenge that you have. So the 2-3 zone has been a pretty good change up in terms of changing the shot quality and shot type of the Spirit. So from a defensive standpoint, it's what you want from the Capitals. But then the challenge becomes when you're in a zone, there's no assigned boxing out, jobs in terms of matchups. So you've almost got to just see the ball, run your shoulders through it, and just be first to it. It becomes almost a reaction type of situation as opposed to physically going and impeding somebody's run to the basket. But anytime you've got the length of Ruth Davis, which took a defender away, and then the persistence of Kelsey Griffin, she gets the O board and put back. So with the Caps, you've got to try and take that away.
Potter finds herself at the line. .71% free throw shooter this season. 2 from 2 there. And momentum continues for the Caps. March it back to 5.
More extended pressure. So after the free throw, the Caps are in a 2-2-1 zone press.
Ali Wilson for 3. He's offline. Sharp brings it down for the Caps. A little miscommunication there, I think. Looking for Bunton. It goes out of play. Bendigo ball.
Yeah, unlucky. Miscommunication, absolutely. But you want to stay aggressive. So, talk about the indecision and not backing yourself. I thought that there was a pull-up jump shot available there for Alex Sharp. Anytime that you have a pick-and-roll set, the play's for you. If you're aggressive and you try to score, if you have a window to, you should try to do that all the time.
Abby Werang comes up short. Potter with the rebound. Pressure from Crocker, but it remains with the Caps. Sharp
And there you go, a different result where there's no hesitation. She sees a wide open jump shot that's a makeable one for her, backs herself in and just plays off instinct, just plays basketball.
Heading to a timeout here in this second quarter. This timeout is brought to you by CTM Sport. CTM Sport is here to transform your team's travel experience. Leave the hassle of off-court arrangements to CTM Sport, the experts in sports travel management. Get the winning edge at ctmsport.com.au. So, Mark, almost carbon copy of the first quarter after the Caps started strongly, and now a timeout's called just to try and halt their momentum. It was 11 points at quarter time. It was 12 all at one stage during that first quarter before the Spirit got a run on, and now the Caps have started the second strongly, back to 3 points. Again, some positives to take out of the way that they're playing.
Yeah, and it's come off the back of defense. So I really like the defensive change-up from Coach Kristen Veal to give the Spirit another look, force them to have to create for one another. So the Spirit haven't got a single assist in the first 5 minutes almost of this second quarter. So it's stifled the rhythm they've been able to play with for this game so far. Then it gives them a chance to keep them scoreless and go and try and chip away at the margin at the other end, which they've been able to do even amidst some of the miscommunications that they've had. So it's come off the defense that's shortening this, or narrowing this gap rather. If they can be aggressive on the offensive end and take first options, the things that they see, make the play that you see, not the one that you want, and back yourself in without any hesitation, we might see a case where this stays close up until half-time.
Just half-time?
Well, for now, it's baby steps. For the Caps, they've got to try and win each quarter and almost treat each quarter like an individual game within itself.
So here's a chance for Bendigo. There's Crowling. Taking the mask off, I think. And we'll go to the line for an and one. Let's take another look.
So she does a really good job of being able to leverage your body contact. I mentioned that earlier. So if you're Alex Bunton, when she tries to get you with that first bump, you've got to keep your feet and body away, and she generally tries to spin back to her left hand. That's the stronger hand that she likes to hook and finish with. So you've got to get your feet across and almost play her left foot, and then you'll be between her and the trajectory of the ball. But credit to Froling. She leans forward, she gets her shoulders past yours, and then her reach is able to get the shot up off the glass.
Whistle off the play. So we get a good look at that.
Yeah, it looked like Casey Samuels has come across to bump the cutting Monica Okoye, or a post up. So trying to impede Okoye's post up and push her further from where she was intending to catch the basketball.
5 minutes to go in this opening half. Capitals with possession. Okoye looking for an option, decides to go herself, and why not?
And if she's comfortable playing back to the basket like that, she can be an offensive target with a mismatch. So she was guarded by Meryn Crocker in that particular possession, who's shorter and isn't as physically strong in a wrestling match 2 feet from the hoop.
So we see a foul call down Bendigo's end. A 3-point lead to the Spirit. 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Get the foul call, Abby Werung.
Being able to cut to the basket, just get her shoulders by that catch. And then we've got just a chest bump, contact by Shakira Riley to incur the foul. So Werung will go to the free throw line.
Makes the first. Ali Wilson up to 9 points alongside Griffin for the Spirit. Froling with 4. Werung makes it 2 from 2 for the Caps. Fowler with 8, Sharp with 6. 5 to Munga. Of course, without Jade Melbourne tonight, if you've just joined us, rested due to a calf injury. Here's Fowler for the Caps under all sorts of pressure. Gets the foul.
Yeah, foul called there on Alex Wilson. So they switched in that last action. So you had the smaller Ali Wilson guarding Fowler going to the basket. If the ball gets posted there, you've got time and space to be able to wheel around and almost physically push away into layup type of territory. She's able to play through the foul, get herself on the free throw line. She's doing a heck of a job of that so far in this ball game. If I'm not mistaken, these will be her 9th and 10th free throw attempts so far, and only half a game of basketball in.
Certainly playing a role tonight. You mentioned earlier, Bendigo have got the recent form over the Capitals, who haven't won at Red Energy Arena since January 2019. So a long time between drinks for them here at this venue. But it's a good contest so far, just 3 points the difference. Frolling puts a shot up, can't get it to go. Koya brings it down for the Caps. Off to Clark. Looking for some help. Sharp back to Clark. Now Koya. It's Frolling to contend with. It's a lovely move and gets the finish as well.
It is a beautiful move. So she was trying to bait Alicia Frolling to see what she was going to bite on. She used a fake spin and was able to step around onto her right hand.
Just 1 point the difference. Ali Wilson draws the contact from Koya.
The thing that makes Ali Wilson particularly hard to guard and why she gets such a great turnaround of free throws in every game that she plays in, she's shifty. So she's, and I say that not in terms of being, cheeky, but shifty in terms of shifting her shoulders. She moves you. She seems like she's going to take off. Then she pauses and hesitates. Then she'll change direction. So she never gives you a clear indication of whether she's driving, staying, going left, going right. So you're always on the back foot. And then when she actually goes, you're late to react. So inevitably you draw contact.
Great move from McGoldrick.
Big bucket, off an offensive rebound too, so you never like those things. If you're a coach, these are avoidable, easy baskets that you want to keep to a minimum if you're the Caps. But to the contrary, for Coach Kennedy Kariyama, you would absolutely love that particular play. So you haven't played a whole lot of minutes if you're Ezra McGoldrick in this game so far. So to have an impact on this game just purely on effort and possession play, that's a big tick in the box for the Spirit.
So good second quarter from the Capitals. Bendigo, 11 points to the good at quarter time. Now just 2 points the difference with 3 to go in the second. Crocker for 3. It's a second of the night.
Can't leave her open. When she's got the ability to hit 8 out of 10, which is an absurd clip from the three-point line, you've got to be there in her jersey with her hand up every time she catches the basketball.
Here's Potter for the Caps to Okoye. Working on Werong. Just bubbles out. Wilson brings it down for the Spirit.
5 on 4 if the Spirit go quick.
Crocker again, pulls the trigger. She's in fine form and feeling it from the perimeter.
Massive bucket. 2 back-to-back threes for Crocker. Blown this game open.
And we're heading to a timeout. And this timeout is brought to you by Ford Aussie Hoops, which is the perfect introduction to the world of basketball for kids aged 5 to 10 years. To find out more, visit aussiehoops.basketball to register. Jess Webster and Mark Alabakov with you. Bendigo against UC Red Energy Arena. And Mark, things have just the intensity's just lifted a couple of notches, thanks to a couple of big buckets from Crocker.
Yeah, it's 2 huge baskets. And I want to talk about that because there are some baskets in transition. So we saw early in the first quarter a 3-point shot to Alex Wilson, a wide open pull-up jumper to Alex Wilson, and then 2 back-to-back threes to Crocker that have just come from late closeouts or late matchups that are born out of miscommunications for the Caps. So one of the most important things to do, and anybody who's ever played basketball, your coach has always said something akin to talk to each other, have a conversation. And what does that look like? Well, who is picking the basketball up? It's the basketball that scores. So that needs to be stopped early, and and needs to be a routine thing. Go and stop the basketball. You need somebody to protect the basket as the ball is in transition. To eliminate easy baskets, just from kick-ahead passes. But then you've got to go and find dangerous shooters quickly to be able to nullify them as well. Now, stopping the basketball and then doing all that work behind it buys you time to get everybody matched up. Everybody can then load towards the ball and try to shrink space around the ball handler and get out of jail. But when that doesn't happen, it's plays like that that can blow games open. And we're seeing that so far.
Munga just bursting through a couple like a cannonball.
She's so strong too. So it goes straight at the hip of the moving Froling in that particular instance. So draws the blocking foul. But I like this approach, and this is the, I'd like to phrase it, no rear view type of approach from the Caps that's going to be fruitful for them. They've got to continue to be in attack mode. You can't play any of these games against anybody in the league, certainly not the hungry Bendigo Spirit, playing not to lose. Can't have any hesitation, and Munga doing a heck of a job in leading her team right now with their mentality.
It's important for the Caps to finish strongly here. Bendigo in the first quarter got a run on 13 points to 2 in the tail end to take a 11-point lead at quarter time as McGoldrick fires for 3.
And she's a known three-point shooter. That's what she does, especially as an athlete at that size. So that'll be on the scouting reports. This is another focus piece in transition to know your personnel. Some coaches will call that KYP. Know your personnel, know who you're guarding, and try and take away plan A and force them to plan Bs.
Munga goes for 3, it comes up short. So after UC got to within a point, now Spirit have edged out to a 9-point advantage. Momentum on their side at the moment.
I think a foul call that looks a little inadvertent, but it's going to send the Bendigo Spirit to the line here. Might have been on Munga there.
So Ali Wilson finds herself at the line.
Nonetheless, it brings Ali Wilson closer to her scoring milestone.
One from 2. She's 3 points now away from 2,000 career points. It'll be a UC ball.
Now go back to limiting easy possessions, easy baskets. There's some fundamental things that you need to take care of on the defensive end if you're the Caps. Boxing out on a set of free throws is the most important thing. Kelsey Griffin came up with that basketball, almost generated an extra possession where the Caps would need to defend another full shot clock.
Capitals need a response. And this 3-ball attempt comes up short, but they win the rebound. Okoya swings it across to Potter, working on Griffin, finds a way. Has turned it over. Kelly Wilson for the Spirit. A minute to go in the second quarter. Here's McGoldrick. And they've turned it over. Capitals ball.
Probably had a wide open pull-up jump shot there, McGoldrick. I'd like to see her be aggressive as well. We mentioned earlier at the other end of the floor with the Caps, anytime you use a pick and roll, it's an opportunity for you to be a scorer as a primary option, and you need to try to do that, not only because you're going to be open, but then it sets into motion these passes to the roller or passes opposite you to keep the basketball moving, but you don't get to those secondary actions unless you try to be a scoring threat first.
Broken up by Ali Wilson. Munga gets it back. 30 seconds to play. Off to Sharp. Bobbles out. And a foul call.
Reach-in foul call there on Alex Sharp, but not a great decision. You've got only one possession essentially left that would have been for the Spirit in that particular instance. Ball's in Kelly Wilson's hands. You have your defense back and set. to wrap around the back and Fowler sends a very capable free throw shooter to the free throw line. So Kelly Wilson, she knocks both of these down. Now you're looking at a double-digit margin. Yes, you do get possession of the basketball back, but there's a difference if, psychologically, if you're the Caps and you go into halftime looking at something that's a single-digit margin versus the team that we're playing has got 50-plus points on the board and on their way to 100. Very different for your psyche and your self-belief.
Kelly Wilson's missed just twice at the line this season. Gets both those attempts. And once again, the Spirit have finished a quarter strongly and they'll go into halftime with the momentum and a good lead on the scoreboard. The Caps do here as the seconds tick down. Looks like the Spirit have been penalised for a foul.
It's a foul called here. I think it might have been a hold on the roll down there. But opportunity here for Koya to be able to get herself 2 more, get this thing to the 10-point margin, generate a bit of belief here for the UC Caps. And if you're the Spirit, you're communicating at the moment while the referee's passing the basketball to Okoye about what you're going to run on this last possession, because 10 seconds is a lot of time. Or alternatively, Coach Kennedy Kariyama will do that talking for them.
So we are heading to a timeout here. The Spirit back to their 11-point margin that they had at quarter time. It's been a quarter of momentum shifts. The Capitals at one stage got to within 1, but once again, the Spirit just take it to that next level, find that extra gear to get themselves back out in front. So I'll be pretty pleased with their ability to respond. And for the Caps, they'll be, as you said, Mark, trying to take some confidence into half-time. They, in patches, we've spoken about it throughout the night, they've played some really good basketball and challenging the Spirit, but just having these lapses and conceding over 50 points and a half is never good.
Yeah, and it's been wounds that are self-inflicted. It's been the communication side of things and being able to limit easy baskets in things that are controllable to you. That the skill of the athlete isn't the differentiating point, but at the moment they're getting beat on just effort-based plays for mine. Now for the Bendigo Spirit, coming out of this timeout, you get 10 seconds to try to orchestrate yourself a shot, and then you want to go with your size at the offensive glass. See if you can get yourself another possession that you might be able to turn into an and one or a tip in, right at the end of the quarter and steer momentum in your way. So smart timeout by Coach Kennedy Kariyama to be able to try and slam the door shut a little bit here in this one where the Caps have put a foot in the door and kept it alive.
See if they can execute as Ali Wilson knocks it down for 3. And that is her 2000th career point, and what a way to do it.
Ali Wilson, take a bow. That is a monstrous 3 to end the quarter. Will send the Spirit into halftime full of confidence, full of belief, and with momentum wholly in their favor.
Incredible end to that half from Ali Wilson and the Bendigo Spirit as well. They have all the momentum at halftime. As Mark Alabakov, we take a look at some of the highlights to halftime.
Yeah, and like this game, I mentioned that the defensive change-up going to that 2-3 zone for the Caps proved fruitful for them, and they had that for the first 5 or so minutes of the second quarter. But then out of the timeout and the response from the Bendigo Spirit, they did a fantastic job of finding their feet. The Caps came out of that particular defensive scheme and went back to a man-to-man defense, and then the Spirit picked it apart, just like they did in that first quarter. They're tough to stop. They've got some weapons, and then with the possession play on the offensive glass, they just keep the basketball alive with both effort and length.
So a good half of basketball to the Bendigo Spirit. As we've mentioned, they need to win tonight to keep their slim finals chances alive. Mathematically, it can still happen for them, but they cannot afford to lose any more games. And they're also looking for a clean sweep over the Capitals in a regular season for the first time in 10 years since the 2013-2014 season. So a lot to play for in front of a great home crowd they have here tonight at Red Energy Arena, as we take a look at some of the key stats to halftime, and those 3-pointers stand out for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at it compared to the Caps, where they're 1 of 11 so far, but then to contrary, both of the teams almost opposite in the advantages they created from the 3-point line versus the free throw line. So 2 very different approaches. the field goal percentage for mine is a differentiating point. So you've got 56% for the Spirit. They've got 9 different scorers so far in this ball game and 26 points in the paint. So being able to create high percentage shots routinely, but for multiple people.
So take a look also at some of the top scorers. Ali Wilson, as we mentioned, she needed 14 points to reach 2,000 career points, and she got it on the halftime buzzer with a three-pointer. What a way to do it, and what a player she has been. And Kelsey Griven and Crocker as well with 9 points each. And Fowler's playing a good role for the Capitals, but they were disappointed, I think, with the way they finished off that second quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the difference is going to be made on the defensive end. So for the Caps to put 40 points on the board, that puts you, within a ballpark of putting a winnable scoreline on the board. But allowing 54, the adjustments need to come on the defensive end to limit easy baskets. So at halftime here, it is Bendigo leading the UC Capitals 54-40. They lead by 14 points. And this week is also the WNBL Fighting Period Poverty Round. And earlier, we caught up with several players from the competition on what this round means to them.
The importance of period poverty can't be underplayed.
The fact we get to raise awareness for it and support women in need. We get to supply people with the period products and sanitary items that they need and sometimes go without.
Share the Dignity do a great job of trying to make that accessible for all females.
To be able to raise awareness for something that affects so many women in Australia, I think it's just so fitting for our league.
Fighting Period Poverty is sponsored by Foodie.
You can help by purchasing your bloody good socks today.
Women are powering forward and changing the game on and off the court. Together, Basketball Australia and the Australian Sports Commission are powering women in basketball. We are amplifying the voices, skills and spirit of women in the game. From the backboards to the boardrooms, we're breaking barriers, shattering stereotypes and empowering the next generation of female athletes and leaders. Get involved and together we can create a future where every girl's hoop dreams are within reach.
It's a game of strategy, nerve and unpredictability.
On Woodbridge pushes Australia's most addictive game show. Over the Edge.
One counter for a shot at $40,000.
The more you risk.
2 counters, $20,000. I'll also throw in a holiday.
The more you win.
If you don't get that jackpot, you'll leave here with nothing.
New Tipping Point Australia starts Monday, Jan 29 on 9.
Ford dealers have backed sport in communities for nearly 100 years. And now, from the Boomers and Opals to Aussie Hoops, your local Ford dealer is proud to support basketball. Because all dreams start somewhere.
Hi, I'm Amy. And I'm Annalie. And we're here with Lachlan and Zara from Ford Aussie Hoops. Let's go have some fun.
Yeah.
What was your favourite sport when you were younger?
Basketball, obviously. Do you play other sports too?
No, just
You're a hooper. What's your favourite subject at school, guys?
Math. PE.
Oh,
Math and PE.
What's 2 plus 2?
4.
Oh, what's 2 times 2?
4.
There we go.
I don't want to stop.
Do you believe in magic? Did you know that I'm magic?
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
I can do many magic tricks.
What's your favourite thing about basketball?
Friends.
Do you get fouled out a lot?
I do.
Yes. She also gets a lot of tech fouls.
I don't get tech fouls.
I thought you were going to say the fun.
Yeah,
the fun and the friends.
But the friends make it fun. The people you do it with make it fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's go shoot some hoops. Come on.
For centuries, supernatural creatures have lived among us.
There are vampires, werewolves, doppelgangers, witches,
And even hybrids. Go!
There are friends,
Our enemies.
the ones we love.
And the ones we've lost. A lot of blood, a lot of partying.
But if you're gonna die, it might as well be epic.
Sink your teeth into the drama. The Vampire Diaries.
Here we go.
Stream every episode on 9 now.
You overheated the generator.
That's nightgown. Away.
Well, that smile might make all the girls at the church social swoon, but it's not gonna work on me.
Well, I'm not gonna be polite. I'm not gonna show you where a fuse box is. Night.
This Manhattan Doctor's life is going south. Stream all episodes of Heart of Dixie on 9 now.
I've got a staff meeting to go to, and so do you. You elitist Harvard fascist missed the dean's list 2 semesters in a row, Yankee jackass.
Stream The West Wing
Feel better getting that off your chest there, CJ?
I'm a whole new woman.
on 9 now.
Women are powering forward and changing the game on and off the court. Together, Basketball Australia and the Australian Sports Commission are powering women in basketball. We are amplifying the voices, skills and spirit of women in the game. From the backboards to the boardrooms, we're breaking barriers, shattering stereotypes and empowering the next generation of female athletes and leaders. Get involved and together we can create a future where every girl's hoop dreams are within reach.
We've now distributed 4.5 million period products, and this year it's our goal to get to 5 million. These 300 bags that you're putting together will go towards our 1 millionth bag that we've been able to distribute in the last 9 years.
We're the only professional sporting league in the country that does a round aimed at fighting period poverty. Again, we're very, very proud of that. I think there should be more doing it.
3, 2, 1, let's go!
I think it's very important overall just to help those who are in need and who really need help and who really need these items.
Just to be able to pack some bags and, make sure other people still have the opportunity to have their dignity and continue about their day. I just think it's great and glad to be a part of it.
Fighting period poverty.
Great to see some of the players of the competition getting behind the WNBL's Fighting Period Poverty round, and Share the Dignity are committed to helping end period poverty for good. So make sure you do what you can to support this wonderful cause, and it's great to see the WNBL raise vital awareness and much needed funds for this cause. Halftime here at Red Energy Arena. Jess Webster and Mark Alabakov with you. And Mark, the first half belonged to Ali Wilson. Of course, the 29-year-old star of Bendigo debuted in the WNBL as a 16-year-old. She notched up a 200th game last season and in the first half scored 14 points. But that 14 points meant she reached 2,000 career points and did it in style on the halftime buzzer with a big three-pointer. What a player.
I love your phrasing, in style. So 50% from the field in this particular game, 40% from the three. So those are elite level numbers. She's got the 4 rebounds as well and the 2 assists that she creates for other people. She not only outworks you with her quickness, but she's dangerous enough to penalize you the moment that you make a mistake on the defensive end. She's a weapon that can just put scores on the board.
A weapon indeed, leading the way for the Spirit with 14. Crocker on 9, as well as Griffin. And for the UC Caps, Fowler with 10. And Munga and Okoya with 7 each as we get set for the second half. An interesting game of basketball, Mark. It was Bendigo by 11 points at quarter time, by 14 at half time, but scores are level through the first quarter. UC got within a point in the second quarter. It's just been kind of a topsy-turvy game, and still so much basketball to be played out, but going to come down to the team who can play 4 quarters of basketball. It's almost as simple as that.
It is. You know, I alluded to it earlier with the Caps. You've got to treat each quarter here like their own separate mini game and be able to zoom in your focus on just trying to win both the third and fourth quarters in this one.
So we go again, third quarter underway. Bendigo up by 14. As Davis puts a shot up. Can't find the bottom of the net.
That's a good start. So pushing Ruth Davis a big metre away from where she intended to catch the basketball. It meant she was out of range for a hook and didn't shoot it comfortably.
And a foul call and all of that.
So it'll be possession to the Caps. They'll get a chance to run one of their baseline plays here. If they can get themselves a score, it'll be a fantastic start to go stop score within your first 2 possessions.
Here's Sharp for the Caps. Get it back on the wing. Unloads for 3. Great start to the Capitals.
An excellent kickback pass there from Fowler. Now, we mentioned earlier about how the playmaking and the shot generation for your teammates, you lose that with Jade Melbourne out of the lineup. We're feeling this still, watching the Caps. That's just their 4th assist as a team so far.
And just their second 3-pointer, I think, for the night too. They would love a few more of those as they find another stop and another basket through Sharp. So a good start to them to this third quarter.
Yeah, and multiple people being a threat, so that layup to Sharp, being aggressive becomes really, really important. Now, if they can couple that with creating advantages for one another, you might see a Caps run here in this third quarter.
Wilson looks inside for Froling, draws the contact.
So we've got pick and roll here. So you see Alex Wilson, we mentioned her as a scorer. She's also a facilitator. So she notices that she's got an advantage to throw the ball ahead to Froling. She gets elevated to create herself a passing angle, but only jumps when she sees the pass she's going to make, doesn't get in the air and then try to decide what to do. It's a big distinction there, and it shows the class of her and the experience of her as an athlete.
Two from 2 to Froling. And a couple of settlers for the Spirit. But I was looking to keep the pressure on Bendigo. As they work it out. And that shot's offline. So a chance for Bendigo down the other end. Griffin looks inside to Froling. Gets it out to Kelly Wilson, but under pressure, but it will remain a Spirit ball.
Now on that last play, you've got Kelly Wilson guarding Jada Clark, the much younger point guard for the UC Caps, who's been a little shaky in this one so far. Doesn't look fully in belief of herself, though. It looks like she's making the right reads and looks like she's looking in the correct areas. So you've got Kelly Wilson climbing in with a whole lot of ball pressure and then giving her some space off the ball. She stayed and double-teamed the post in that last play. So keep an eye on her, being able to do that tactfully somewhat, not have respect for an opponent, but tactfully help off somebody onto whoever is more of an offensive threat at that particular point in time.
Griffin off to Ali Wilson, to Froling, to Kelly Wilson. Sharing around the arc, now to Crocker. To Froling. Back out to Crocker, and that pass had too much on it, but good pressure from the Capitals.
Yeah, and miscommunication there between Crocker and Froling. It's a small win. to the Capitals, but now you've got to try and make up this deficit. So you've got to put some points on the board here, either through execution, or if you're in the half court, it's got to come off your work ethic on the offensive glass.
Munga pulls up for two. Can't get it to go. Griffin with the rebound off to Kelly Wilson. To Griffin to Crocker. Will she go for the three again? She'll palm it off to Kelly Wilson. Now to Crocker. This time pulls the trigger. And an uncharacteristic miss in three-point range. Not often we say that.
And I love the phrasing that Larissa Anderson has had on commentary, that there's times that you shoot the basketball as an athlete and the rim looks like it's the size of a hula hoop, and that must be what it looks like to Meryn Crocker from the three-point line right now.
Confidence sure is a wonderful thing. Sharp finds herself at the line for UC. Points so far tonight.
I'd be keen to see from a matchup standpoint what they look to do here. You've got Okoye on the likes of Kelsey Griffin. She guarded Froling in the last possession. She's a dangerous three-point shooter, but she's having to run with the Frolings, with the Griffins in transition. So she has to expend a whole lot of energy just to stay with them and then defend them in high-pressure situations. That can be fatiguing over 4 quarters to then have the ask of her to try and hit some threes for the Caps.
Clark with a couple of attempts. A couple of players go to ground. They're okay.
Like bumper cars.
Made of tough stuff. Wilson to Griffin. And draws the foul.
And it's smart. Keep going to the well. Early post touches, rim runs for the Bendigo Spirit. Alicia Froling does an exceptional job of that. Here you see a pick and then being able to seal there from Kelsey Griffin. So the basketball will find you. You've just got to hold your position in the keyway there. You can hold that seal or that position for 2.9 seconds before you need to release it. And you've got athletes that are physically strong enough to open themselves a passing window, and great passes of the basketball that will get the ball there for the Spirit. So watch off the ball. Look at the intent there from Kelly Wilson to go and put a whole lot of pressure on the younger Jada Clark.
There's a lot of pressure too.
So she's been somewhat of a makeshift point guard, an emerging talent within the junior national landscape. But in her first season of true WNBL basketball and playing minutes.
Here's Fowler. Now to Bunton. Capitals need a response here. Potter sets the feet for three. It's offline. Sharp tries to keep it alive, but Crocker comes up with it for the Spirit. And off to Kelly Wilson.
Foul called on the play. So I mentioned, the mentality, if you're the Caps, to be able to knock off the Spirit on their home floor. It's a big ask, but it's not one that's, out of the capability of any team, in the Cygnett WNBL. But you've got to play or make every play to win. You can't be risk adverse and try to overcome the loss of essentially your star player and playing against a hungry basketball team on their home floor. So the hustle from Alex Sharp, tremendous, but all 4 of her teammates running back in defense. There's no one to throw the ball to or save it into. I'd like to see an adjustment for them to be able to go and cut to the basket in that instance.
Samuels puts the shot up, can't get it to go. Froling. But it'll be a Capitals ball. And if you are the Capitals, a few games to go in their season. Of course, on the bottom of the ladder, obviously you don't want to finish there, but how do you approach the final games of the season? Is it about winning at all costs? Is it about trying to find some combinations, getting some minutes into younger players? What are some of the goals that you think that they might have?
Well, I think they've done a really good job of trying to experiment with a number of combinations throughout. I think you try to recreate finals type atmospheres or finals type of pressure. So the teams that you play, you're almost making your own makeshift final series in the last 4 games. As an example, the team that you're playing right now might be your quarterfinal, for instance. So you prepare with that level of clarity and you hold the team to that level of account. Trying to give them finals type of atmosphere or pressure, before, almost synthetically, before the real stuff actually comes. So this is clearly a team that's in a rebuilding phase, trying to gain or orchestrate as much experience as they can, that then they can use in future if they can get themselves into those positions realistically.
Froling draws the foul.
But what you really want to do is just make sure the bedrocks of your defense are taken care of. One of the things that becomes really important, it's an underrated way of being an elite level basketball team, is you need to know what loses before you know what wins. You need to make sure that you don't beat yourself before you can try and beat an opponent. And the things that get you beat are miscommunications, lack of communication and clarity on who's picking the basketball up, who is guarding the basket, who is matching up to who, solving mismatches in transition, boxing out. They're the bedrocks of your defense that the WNBL is far too good and far too talented. That the moment you give a team an inch with that, they can do a whole lot of damage and they can blow open a game where, for all intents and purposes, you've performed admirably in otherwise.
Sharp puts a shot up, and it's a good point you make as Froling brings in the rebound, because without foundations, can't go anywhere.
Beautiful pass.
Just couldn't get the finish there, Froling. Capitalise on the team play.
But that's what you have, at your disposal when you've got Alicia Froling on the floor. She's a great rim runner, runs ahead, gives you the opportunity to throw to her and creates herself a passing window. But when I'm talking about defensive bedrocks, so bumping of, I believe it was Alex Bunton in that instance, from the Spirit. She's cutting to the tip of the rim, looking to get a catch in transition to get a high percentage look. Defender comes in and bumps her to try and restrict her ability to go right to the tip of the rim. Even incurring the foul, it's not the worst scenario, because, with the Caps having to pass the basketball in, all of your defenders are matched up how you like, and they're back and set.
It's Sharp off to Bunton. Shot clock ticking down. Tough finish. Gets it done.
Class act, underrated act. Has had a really underrated career, Alex Bunton. I think she's offered a lot to her teams throughout the years.
Ali Wilson down the other end for the N1.
And explosive. It looked like there was a window that was opening and just shutting at a rate of knots, and she was able to accelerate and squeeze in through before those, it was like elevator doors shut. Just going for the next scoring milestone.
Certainly in fine form is Ali Wilson. And of course, had a career there's 13 assists against Perth last round as well, so showing no signs of slowing down.
And fun to watch when she hits that flow state, that purple patch that we've seen throughout her career, because she's so dangerous, so creative, and it looks like the game is moving in slow motion to her.
Munga for 3 is offline. Bendigo come up with it through Werrong to Ali Wilson. Pulls the trigger for a triple.
We might be entering one of those purple patches right now.
Absolutely in flow state at the moment. This lead now continuing to grow for the Spirit. Potter in the corner for the Capitals. Off the rim. Crocker. Fast transition. McGoldrick, Ali Wilson.
I'd be looking for her too.
Just holding things up. What's she going to do here? Cross to the corner. To Werrong now looking inside of Froling, and they get the foul.
And a nice seal from Froling. So one of the things that makes her tough to defend, she'll hold a position. So you see her here leaning in to Gemma Potter, and then she releases contact where she only gives up that position on the floor to get possession of the basketball, and she ends up landing with it within layup range.
So heading to a timeout here with 2:50 on the clock in the third quarter. And this timeout is brought to you by Booty. Make yourself comfortable with Booty. Discover their collection of everyday basics and underwear, including period and leak-proof styles, all crafted in sustainable bamboo viscose. So now this lead, as we mentioned, is starting to creep out for Bendigo. And it was always going to be the challenge for the Capitals. Without Jade Melbourne tonight, can they find scoring opportunities? Can they limit the scoring of the opposition and stick it out for 4 quarters? So we've seen patches, we've seen glimpses of their best basketball tonight, but at the moment, Spirit well on top.
Yeah, and and they should be in the way that they're playing. They continue to create advantages for one another. They've had answers to the matchup defense that the Capitals have played. So they've had their best period in terms of having control of the game when they were in that 2-3 zone. If you're Coach Kristen Veal, this might be an opportunity for the last 2 minutes 50 of the quarter to be able to roll that back out and see if it can provide some dividends for you leading into quarter number 4. If you're Coach Kennedy Kariyama, I mean, you're looking to push the basketball at every opportunity. It's been able to pay dividends for you in terms of the pace of play and get yourself on the free throw line. But you're probably anticipating out of this timeout the next defensive move from Coach Kristen Veal. So you prepare your team so that that zone change-up doesn't stifle you like it did in the second quarter. So coaching is so much about reminders and forecasting, but then being able to do that with small prompts based upon the preparation that you've put in the hours that you spend on court in the week.
Gets on the third attempt, rolling.
So it's often the case when we watch these teams and it visually looks like they've got all the answers. I mean, there's no magic wands in basketball. All of that comes from the bulk of the time that you spend with your team, which is at practice. You've got to have a clear and robust enough system that come game day, just some small change-ups and prompts. They get you out of trouble. They continue to create advantages for you, and don't let the defense stifle what you're trying to do.
Last 2.5 minutes of the third quarter here. Bendigo in control. Abby Werong for 3, knocks it down.
Outstanding drive and kick, and Abby Werong's another lethal 3-point shooter that you can't leave open on the perimeter.
Got a few of those.
They do. They're dangerous from downtown.
17 points the difference now. Final 2 minutes of the third. Bunton off the rim. Sharp with the rebound. Now goes inside to Bunton, working the baseline. And the last touch, Spirit, it looks like. Capitals ball.
And this is what happens when you take a huge focal point out of your offense. When you're coaching, you design a way to win, you also design a way to lose. So taking Jade Melbourne out of that lineup, who's such a game manager, she would get the ball to Alex Bunton where she likes it to be able to finish. But without that, you see an uncharacteristic top of the key 3-point shot. But then in the offensive rebounds, that reverse layup attempt is a little bit more what we're used to seeing from Alex Bunton within her range, and she's been proven with that type of a shot rather than the 3-point shot.
Here's Werong looking for Griffin, but broken up by Fowler. They'll get another opportunity. Free attempt from Dales offline. Sharp to Fowler under all sorts of pressure. Somehow find Munger. He gets the finish.
And that would be what we refer to as the play after the play. So Crocker's clearly got a directive from Coach Kennedy Kariyama to go and double team the post whenever Fowler gets it. So if you've got cutting actions, or we call them receiver rules, off the ball when someone catches it in the post, gives you an opportunity to move to windows where you can penalize the defense for double teaming like that.
Crocker for Bendigo makes a move, but denied wonderfully from Sharp.
Alex Sharp says not today.
Perfect timing. And again, good defense from the Caps. They need to punish him at this end. And they get a triple from Sharp just when they needed it.
Playing both ends, Alex Sharp. Take a bow.
Back to 12 points. Crocker assessing her options. Shot clock ticking down, so gives it to Kelsey Griffin, who's offline. Potter. Nearly. Pretty good attempt.
And with only a second left on the clock, you have an opportunity to have a crack. You never know when that shot is going to go down and it's going to create a huge advantage for your team. So why not have a crack if there's time left?
Absolutely. So three-quarter time here at Red Energy Arena. It is the Spirit up 67-56. So we'll take a look at some of the highlights so far. We've seen some good basketball from both teams at the moment, but Bendigo just really always finding that extra gearing, keeping the Capitals at arm's length.
Yeah, they are. And, you know, some of the damage for the Caps has been done by Alex Sharp and her hustle plays and being able to rip to the basket. But, you know, look, for the Bendigo Spirit, they just move the basketball really well. They've got weapons on the three-point line. So anytime that you create an advantage from a drive and kick, you know, on cue here from Merrin Crocker, there to wide open three-point shot to Abby Werung. They've got people who can knock them down. They've just got to get that first trigger going and then have the defense in rotation, and they can keep the basketball moving via the pass or via the dribble till they create an open shot.
No job Melbourne tonight for the Capitals, rested due to a calf injury. They have 56 points to three-quarter time. And do you think they'd be happy with where they sit, considering she's not only just their best player on the side, she's one of the best players in the competition?
Yeah, look, I mean, from the offensive standpoint, I think you look at just the measure of 56 points, and that's okay. You just want to continue to create clarity. This is only your first game without her in the lineup, so the clarity is going to get better. Where your playmaking is going to come from is going to get better, and it has, going from halftime or the first half to just this third quarter alone. So they were able to get 4 assists in that quarter, where they only had 3 up until halftime combined, and you know, different times were still within the contest, but you know, to the contrary, the Spirit keeping the basketball moving. They're up to 11 assists. They've got themselves 6 separate individuals who've been able to get a teammate open that has led to a score. So 6 different assist makers, so to speak, or playmakers.
So we say Bendigo are in control, but the Capitals won the quarter, 16 points to 13. So it was 14 points at halftime, 11 points of difference now. It was a good end to that third quarter. It was out to a 17-point lead at one stage. So they are within touch. I mean, basketball is a game of momentum swings. You're going to have them. It's just who can actually obviously make the most of them and minimise the damage at the other end. But they're still within it. The Caps, 11 points of difference. Anything can happen. Yeah,
absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see if they can get themselves an early push here. So 11 points is not a huge margin. And I'd say that, you know, the game felt like it came to a bit of a screeching halt in terms of tempo. Maybe fatigue started to play a little bit of a part for both teams. So, you know, uncharacteristically scoring the 16 and 13 points apiece, you know, in that quarter alone. But for the Bendigo Spirit, they started to rotate throughout their bench. You know, we saw the first minutes from McKenna Dale. So, you know, being able to give opportunity to some athletes who sit perhaps deeper down the rotation, you know, that can be a reason why you've only got the 13 points for the Bendigo Spirit out of that quarter. You haven't particularly put your most dangerous lineup out there. You've used the quarter to give some experience to players deeper in the roster.
So let's see what happens here in this final quarter. The Spirit need to win if they have any hope of playing finals. The UC Caps looking for an upset against the odds here without their star player. Kick us off in the final quarter. It is Fowler who gets the points on the board.
An aggressive start, pull-up jumper from Sharp, but then a tremendous job on the O glass by Fowler. And that's the thing, you're not going to make up this deficit if you're the Caps just on play execution. It's got to be off hustle plays, transition plays.
Griffin responds at the other end for the home side. It's a chance for a Koya. It's off the rim. Griffin brings it down, who last week scored a 2,000th rebound against Perth. Just the 11th player in the competition history to record 2,000 rebounds, and here she is getting it done at the offensive end.
Back to back. And one thing I've noticed with Griffin, so there's a clear indication, so this is probably a directive from Coach Kennedy Kariyama, for her to go at Fowler on the defensive end, force her to have to try to play defense, maybe pre-fatigue her for the amount of scoring and the target that she's been at the other end of the floor. But if I'm not mistaken, that's the 8th point, just this last trip down the floor, that KG has scored on Fowler as a particular matchup.
Another block from Sharp, this time on Werung.
So if you're the Caps, you want to start to anticipate that when the ball goes into KG and the block, you're perhaps bringing some help from somewhere.
Crocker couldn't finish off the team play. Chance for the Caps through Sharp. He's been pretty handy tonight. To Fowler looking for a Koya, and they've turned it over. Werung to Ali Wilson. In fine form tonight to Crocker. Loves it from this range, and that's why.
The basketball touched 3 or 4 sets of hands in that possession. It's a beautiful basketball to try and accelerate out in transition. You had great spacing, and we have a drive and kick 3-point shot for Crocker, who is absolutely on fire right now.
Koya. Looking on Werung and off the window. Ali Wilson, 20 points for her tonight, including career number 2,000, and drains another 3-pointer.
It's raining threes at Red Energy Arena.
And now it's out to 18 points as Sharp gets a valuable 2 points, so 16 the difference. Ali Wilson goes for it again. Griffin with the O-board and the finish. One doesn't get you, the other one will.
Absolutely, and Kelsey Griffin's a big game player, so even if the Capitals went on a run here, she knows what to do. She stands up, she'll be a focal point. She knows when to push the basketball, when to slow it down, and chew some seconds off the clock and be able to be an option at the end of shots. Case in point.
There she is again. Now the points are starting to flow. And we are heading to a timeout here in this fourth quarter. The Spirit now out to a new game-high 20-point lead. And this timeout is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, proudly supporting community basketball in Australia. Big thanks to Ford, as always.
The value of having Kelsey Griffin on your roster, she's a big game player, so she's got the ability to produce on skill, being able to make moves in the post. She can catch and shoot the 3-ball, and she can get herself hot, but she's a worker all the time. She's always active. There's a heap of activity to keep the basketball alive, to win possession, to lead the break and get on the end of a layup. One thing that I mentioned in the game previews for the round on the WNBL website was I anticipated this game being a Kelsey Griffin masterclass. Now, she's left her run to the 4th quarter, but certainly we're seeing that in this first handful of minutes, that there's just so many threads to her bow and so many ways that she can lead you and be a clutch performer, and just in this instance slam the door shut on the UC Caps.
Almost in double-double territory for Kelsey Griffin, averaging the 13 points and 6 rebounds a game this season. She's up to 19 points, 8 rebounds tonight. Really illustrates your point, Mark, and how valuable she is. And as you said, when a team needs her the most, and 3-quarter time, Caps were within 11 points and a couple of opportunities to start the 4th and got some early points, and then Spirit just went bang, and Kelsey Griffin was front and center of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the class that she brings to this lineup, and it's what makes the Spirit dangerous. They've got zero room for error in terms of their playoff campaign, but certainly when you've got Kelsey Griffin on your roster and there's a mathematical chance, there's lifeblood in what you're doing.
Kelly Wilson sweeping past to Griffin. Add some more points to her tally. Rising to the occasion here. 21 points for her tonight. Is Sharp looking to respond at the other end, can't do so. And it is another rebound to Kelsey Griffin.
And that's as underrated a part of what she does. So not only is she a tremendous scorer, but you had the layup attempt by Alex Sharp. There's the tall and very active rebounder in Alex Bunton. Oh my goodness.
They're finding their mojo now.
This is absurd. Kelsey Griffin is amazing.
And that's blown out, 24 points. Just like that, doubled their advantage in a few minutes of play. Sharp pulls up for 2, bobbles out.
And it's a wonderful connection between her and Kelly Wilson. And it's often a talked about point, but it can't be understated. The chemistry between those two, there's almost a sixth sense for basketball that's shared between the two of them. And one thing you watch for, every time Kelly Wilson gets the basketball or comes off in action, her head turns in the direction of locating where Kelsey Griffin is, because they look at one another and they know whether is Kelsey coming up to set a screen, is Kelsey going to cut to space, is she going to seal and want the basketball lobbed over the top. There's this inherent chemistry between them that's developed only by years of playing together with one another, and both of the athletes being very high IQ.
It's wonderful to watch when they get going. It's exactly what they've done here in the last quarter as Riley pulls the trigger and knocks down a valuable three-pointer for the Capitals, but just a little too late. But they will no doubt hold their heads high tonight in the absence of Jade Melbourne. They've really made this competitive.
The moving screen called on Ella Gordon there. So Coach Kennedy Kariyama emptying his bench and giving some opportunity to, as I mentioned earlier, some athletes that sit further down the depth chart for the Spirit. So you never know what can happen if they can sneak their way into the finals picture. You don't know who you're going to need and when. So games like this give you a good opportunity to get some game time into your younger athletes or athletes that sit further down the depth chart per se, because foul trouble can impact a team at any particular game, and you want to know that you can go to athletes 8, 9, 10, sometimes 11, 12 on the roster. Know what you're getting, know that they're confident, know that they've had a taste of the action in games that are close to the business end of the season, and they can come in and contribute.
Riley goes for it again, this time off target. Less than 5 to play here. Spirit up by 21 points after leading by 11 at three-quarter time. Strong final quarter to them. That's a wonderful shot out on the wing from Samuels.
If I'm not mistaken, that's their 11th three-point shot as a team.
Koya makes a move.
And it's what makes them dangerous. So with the three-point shooting, they're 11 of 24. That's at 45%. But it's not just catch and shoot three-point shooting. They'll try to get to the rim and score quickly in transition. They play through their posts, and then any time that you try to blow up what they're doing in the low block, they'll kick it out and they have three-point shooters.
Second three in a row to Samuels. Riley looking inside to Bunton. Gets the finish. Crocker out to Kelly Wilson, calling the shots. Gives it to Werung. Now back to Kelly. Looking for Lacandro. Now Crocker, shot clock ticking down. Good defense from the Capitals.
Little heat check from Merrin Crocker, and a great job defensively by Monica Okoye. So she would look at Crocker, and they're both tremendous three-point shooters. And in her eyes, it would be like she's guarding herself. She's like, holy crap, I've got to get out there and get her hands to that shooter who is so deadly. You saw the urgency on the closeout.
Clark driving nicely. It's a good piece of play. .21 points the margin here. Final 3 minutes of the fourth quarter. It's Bendigo by 11 at quarter time, 14 at half time, 11 at three-quarter time, but they've owned this final quarter. Turned it over here.
Yeah, another offensive foul. So just for the moving screen, so trying to get in the road of the defender to dislodge them from Kelly Wilson, have her have the ability to get to the rim or create for other people. So we see a timeout on the floor.
2 minutes and 28 seconds left. 21-point margin to the Spirit as we take a look at the next 4 games. And as we mentioned, I can't afford any more slip-ups, and the game next week against the Melbourne Boomers is going to be huge.
Absolutely. You know, the Melbourne Boomers are showing their wares in recent games, showing what championship potential looks like for them and being able to be at their best at the right time of year. That's going to be a huge game. Again, we mentioned earlier that for the Bendigo Spirit, they can't lose a single game or their season's over. That's going to be a huge test for them. And for the Boomers, they want to keep winning to try and get some home court advantage and maybe even the minor premiership if they can catch the Townsville Fire, have games out there at the Boombox come playoff time. So lots to play for both of those teams.
As for the Caps, as they run home, we'll play the Spirit again, Adelaide next week. That's hopefully for them a chance to avoid the wooden spoon.
Yeah, you know, look, for them, they're trying to, you know, they can play without any fear. So you've got 3 games there against teams that sit outside the playoff picture. So you would look at those on paper and think that they're ones that you can be competitive in. But then you've got a fantastic challenge in taking on the Townsville Fire, who's currently the ladder leaders, but you get to play them on your home floor. So a lot to play for, nothing to lose. You can play freely. You know, and when you're a team that comes in, you're most vulnerable when you think you can't lose. So the Capitals, for no pun intended, will be looking to capitalise on that type of mentality.
Final couple of minutes here. Red Energy Arena. Great crowd in tonight. It's been a great season for crowds in the WNBL as Bunton is just a little offline. A great hustle. Although the foul has been called.
I like this hustle and effort from Bunton. You know, her being an offensive threat in the post, but then keeping possessions alive. It's really much needed. She brings that veteran leadership to this Caps outfit.
A great steal from Clark. Charges down the other end.
Fantastic finish. Accelerated, got away from Kelly Wilson. It's good to see her back herself in and get herself a basket.
See a foul down the other end. Tamilo finds herself at the line.
Young post player, New Zealand born, I believe. So part of the New Zealand national pathway.
Just 18 years of age as well. It's 1 from 2. Capitals take it down the floor. 90 seconds to play. Okoya put a shot up, can't get the finish. It's been a good season for Bendigo on their home floor. They'll make it 5 wins from 5 games. This one perhaps the most valuable of all for them. Just keeps them alive, keeps things interesting. It's a really competitive top half of the entire ladder, really. It's been one of those seasons where any team can beat anyone on their day. Things really starting to heat up as we look towards the finals. It's going to be a great run. Clark off the rim, Fowler wins it back, gives it back to Clark. Koya from long range. It's offline. Final minute here. Kelly Wilson, ball in hand. What will they manufacture here? Turned it over as the Capitals stream down the other end, and Fowler adds a couple more to her tally.
late substitution to get McGoldrick back out on the floor. So more opportunity, even if it is just for 32 seconds. You get a possession here. Defense is back and set. It gives you an opportunity to run a particular play, an orchestrated look for one of your better scorers.
Abby Warang comes up short. Kira Some fires for three. And is off target. So Bendigo will get a valuable win against the UC Capitals, as we've mentioned, without Jade Melbourne tonight, rested due to a calf injury. Hope to see her back soon. Okoya from long range is offline. Riley, good O-board. Can't get the finish. And that'll do us. Bendigo get the job done against the UC Capitals. They win 93-75. And they just keep the door ajar for a potential final spot in the Cygnett WNBL season. In front of a great home crowd tonight at Red Energy Arena. And it also means that Bendigo have secured a clean sweep over the Capitals in a regular season for the first time in 10 years. And they did it in style, Mark Alabakov. Some quick thoughts from you.
They did, and they did a tremendous job of just creating high percentage shots. So you've got, just from the transition, a combined 29 points, points off turnovers and fast break points, 40 points in the paint, so creating high percentage looks for themselves. They got to the line 22 times. That's tough to stop when you're keeping all of those streams of offense going and 9 individual scorers. There's some weapons on this team, and they survive and advance. That's the mantra for them right now, and they were able to do that tonight and get a resounding win.
Certainly did. So plenty more basketball to come in round 13 of the Cygnett WNBL. These are the games to come. And of course, a reminder, the Townsville and Southside game is on Saturday night, postponed due to a cyclone threat. So we certainly send all of our thoughts and best wishes to our friends up north. But Mark, these are the games to come. And it's got another double-header tonight. Sydney and Southside coming up next. That's going to be a ripper.
Absolutely. That's going to be a heck of a contest because, you've got two teams, the Sydney Flames, who are trying to keep themselves in that top 4 and keep everybody out, including the Bendigo Spirit. So they would have watched the end of this one, and they've got to do their job against Southside. For Southside, much like the Melbourne Boomers, they're chasing down and hunting the Townsville Fire, trying to get themselves into home final territory. But hopefully, in their case, the minor premiership as well. So this whole thing is wide open.
Absolutely. Lots more basketball to come. That's all we've got time for tonight. Thanks for your company. On behalf of myself, Jess Webster, Mark Alabakov, and our entire production team, we hope you have enjoyed the